Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today's video will be my TV and movie wrap up for January all the way to April. It's been a long time since I've done a TV and movie wrap up simply because I honestly didn't really watch anything in the first 2 months of the year. I kind of started watching newer things in March, so I kind of was just waiting until I had enough to talk about to make a TV and movie wrap up. I still really haven't watched a lot of things. I've watched 3 TV shows and 1 movie. I just honestly wasn't really in the mood to watch a lot of things, I guess, in the beginning of the year. I don't know why I didn't watch anything, but actually I do know why. I was just consistently rewatching What We Do in the Shadows. I've just been rewatching season 1 all the way to season 4. It's just been constantly on repeat for me. This is my new comfort show. I love this show very much. I watched this show for the first time back in September and October of last year, I think, and I have just been rewatching it ever since. Not that it has replaced my love for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, because I still love that show and it is still my favorite show. But I don't really rewatch Brooklyn Nine-Nine as much anymore because this has replaced that for my rewatch. I just always have What We Do in the Shadows on my TV and I'm just constantly rewatching all the episodes. I did buy all 4 seasons, so I just constantly rewatch them. I have talked about this show quite often, but if you are not familiar with What We Do in the Shadows, it just takes a look into the nightly lives of 4 vampires who have lived together on Staten Island for over a century. It's obviously like based on the movie, which I have not seen the movie. I should probably do that. Maybe I'll do that this fall around Halloween. Maybe I'll watch the movie, but I love the show. I'm obsessed with it. It is just so good, so funny, so unique and different. And I love all the costumes and the sets and just the whole overall vibe of the show. I'm obsessed with it. I cannot wait for the next 2 seasons. Now onto a brand new show that I watched, and that is Daisy Jones and the Six. I'm giving this show an overall 4 out of 5 stars. This show is an adaptation of the book by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which I have read and loved. I think I also gave the book a 4 out of 5 star. I will link my wrap up where I talked about the book because I think I read it like 2 years ago, so I will link that video down below. But Daisy Jones and the Six just follows the rise and fall of a rock band in the 70s. Overall, I liked the show, but I did have quite a few issues with it, and I feel like my issues are kind of nitpicky, but also at the same time, I feel like my issues are very valid and like reasonable, I guess. I feel like some episodes were paced really weird. Like some episodes were really slow and then other episodes were really fast and like to the point. And it just kind of felt like there was no happy medium on how time progressed with the show. I'm going to try to also keep this spoiler free-ish, but I might spoil things by accident, so just be warned, I guess. This TV show made me realize how much I do not like Billy and Daisy. I loved Daisy in the book. I thought she was fantastic. Somehow, I didn't really like her in the show. In the beginning, Daisy was a very fun, creative, kind of stubborn character. But then when she got with the band, I found that she was very mean and very rude and selfish. And I get it. She's a female in a rock band in the 70s, and I get that she has to be kind of assertive to kind of get her way, and I totally understand that. And I know that like her and Billy have this hate to love situation going on, but I feel like sometimes Daisy was just mean to literally everybody in her life, not just Billy. And I think she took out her frustrations on everybody else, and I just didn't really like that because I didn't feel like Book Daisy did that. I will say towards the end of the show, we finally get more of an understanding and explanation of how complex the relationship between Daisy, Billy, and Camilla is. In the beginning of the show, I feel like they really didn't show how complicated their relationship is. Like, a lot of people are like, why doesn't Billy just leave Camilla? Or why doesn't Camilla just leave Billy? Because it felt like they didn't really show how much Billy and Camilla love each other. And I feel like we got to see that later, like probably the last 2 episodes we really got to see that finally. But I feel like it really lacked the complexity on their whole dynamic between the three of them. I feel like they didn't properly develop that dynamic. And I feel like in the book, Camilla and Daisy had much more of an understanding and they admired each other. In the show, I feel like we had moments where they both admired each other, but then we also had moments where Daisy acted very jealous and very like mean about Camilla, whereas she was never really like that in the book. Like, she respected Camilla a lot. The show kind of pitted women against each other in odd moments, and then we never had true development between all of the women on the show. Karen had like a non-existent storyline. She was basically just a female in the band and dating Graham. That was literally her only two storylines, and I feel like they could have really built the female friendships in the show between Daisy and Karen and Camilla, and we had like the odd scenes between them, but it really wasn't anything. There's some very kind of like hard-hitting moments where all three of these women are leaning on each other. The emotion is just not there because they didn't build up those relationships. Does that make sense? I loved all the interview scenes. I thought those were great. At the beginning, they were kind of non-existent and kind of just like one-liners, but I think towards the end, it actually became more of an interview with questions and answers. I loved all the actors. I think all of the actors did a fantastic job. And obviously I knew Riley Keough could bring it because I've seen her in The Girlfriend Experience, which she was nominated for a Golden Globe for. She was fantastic in that show. So I knew she could act. I knew she really had it. Sam Claflin, I feel like we always know he can act. He's a great actor. I was very surprised by Camilla Morrone. Is that how you say her last name, I think? I really didn't expect much from her, but honestly, she was amazing, and she was one of my favorites from the show, and I think she did such a great job bringing Book Camilla to life, and it made me love Book Camilla even more, too. Like, I just have such an appreciation for Camilla. Her acting in the hotel or motel with Billy when she's pregnant, oh my god. That scene made me tear up. I was like, oh my god, that is just, it was fantastic. I loved that scene. Also, another scene that really stands out to me is the hotel scene with Daisy and Nikki and the whole band, and how the band kind of like backs Daisy up. We have that Fleetwood Mac song in the background. It was just perfection. That is a scene that really will always stand out to me. Also, I loved Warren. Warren, my favorite character. I love him so much. I am happy we got to see his kind of ending and a little bit more with him. It was just great. I also liked how he kind of continued to still play music, and he's later on like Daisy's drummer, which is nice. Love that. I did love Karen and Graham, but like I said, I feel like Karen was really just reduced to a love interest. It's hard because I also feel like she didn't really have much going on in the book either, but I feel like the show made it even worse. It still breaks my heart, the ending between Karen and Graham. And what she said in the interview, that was just heartbreaking. I love Simone. Simone was fantastic. So was Teddy. Loved them. I will say the scenes between Daisy and Simone in Grease, that one specific scene where they're kind of arguing, Book Daisy would have never said that to Simone. I feel like Book Daisy never let Nikki or any other man tell her anything or like get into her head about her friends, and I just hated that. I hated that. And I feel like it does make sense for TV show Daisy, but Book Daisy would have never done that or said that. I hate that. I loved the whole like Camilla Eddie thing. That was a little unexpected, but I kind of liked it. It was a little fun change. I hate the way that they changed Eddie's ending. Like, I don't know why they made him out to be like this real loser. Like, they could have still given him the music producer future, so I don't know why they changed that. Just seems kind of dumb. I'm definitely spoiling things. I'm sorry, guys, but I just need to talk about the show. I need to talk about the show. After watching the TV show, it made me realize how much I hate the ending. I hate the ending because I feel like Camilla deserved so much better. She was always the better person in every situation, and it just feels awful what happened to her, and I feel like she never really got to win. I will say I liked the moment where Daisy realized that she couldn't be with Billy when they were like backstage and then on stage, and she realized like, I am gonna do this for the both of us. I did like that because then you could see that Billy really needed Camilla. Like, Camilla was the one who held Billy together. So I like how we got to see that. Like, the only reason Billy held it together for so long was because of Camilla. And without her, he was broken. He was a mess, and he needed Camilla. I know I keep saying this, but there's one specific scene in the show where Daisy just kind of blurts out, like, we should be together. Book Daisy would have never said that in a million years. She might have thought it, but she would have never said it out loud, especially right to Billy's face. So that kind of bothered me as well. I don't know why, but it did. Even though I have like a million complaints, I still liked the show. I just wish they would have developed the relationships between the band members a little bit more and the female friendships. Oh yeah, also, I'm reading my notes. I cried when Graham said that he couldn't talk about Camilla. Oh, that was heartbreaking. Like, he considered Camilla his sister, and that was emotional. The ending overall was very emotional, actually. I did really love the ending and the whole reveal and everything. I thought that was really well done. The soundtrack of the show was amazing, but also the album Aurora, I loved. My favorite songs are The River, Let Me Down Easy, Kill You to Try, More Fun to Miss, and Please. I also do love Aurora. The album is just fantastic. I absolutely love the album. It gives true like rock and roll vibes. Absolutely love it. Probably going to be one of my favorite albums of the year. Yeah, sorry if I spoiled you on the show. I kind of warned you at the beginning that I might spoil things. I tried not to, but I really needed to talk about the show in full detail because I don't know if I'm just like the only one that feels like disappointed by certain scenes and certain character changes, I guess. And I don't know if I would feel differently if I just binged the entire show, because obviously I would watch as each episode came out. I still really like the show. I just am very passionate about adaptations, and I hate when they change big things. Like minor things I'm kind of fine with, but it's like major things like characters and like their development or like who they are as a character, like that really bothers me. And I feel like they really changed Daisy, and part of me believes that they changed Daisy to build Billy's character a little bit more, which is very annoying considering the show was created by two men. But still, loved the show, loved the music. Then the other TV show I watched was Abbott Elementary season 1 and 2. And this show I'm giving a 5 out of 5 stars. This is a comedy that follows a group of teachers brought together in one of the worst public schools in the country simply because they love teaching. I'd heard about this show because I believe it won a couple of awards, a couple of Emmys, and I believe the creator and star Quinta Brunson also won a couple of awards, and I was intrigued. So I finally started watching it, and oh my god, you guys. This is one of the best new shows I have ever watched in a very, very long time. I know I have very questionable taste. I love a lot of things that a lot of other people don't, or they may hate and think it's the worst thing ever, but I am serious when this is one of the best shows ever. Like, genuinely, this is a fantastic show, and everybody needs to watch it. It is so good. It's probably going to be my favorite show of the year. I don't think anything is going to beat this show, honestly. It's probably just like one of my new favorite shows ever. It is just amazing, and I feel like I can not say enough good things about it. All of the actors are fantastic. They really portray their characters, and they all have such great chemistry together, and they all hit their marks when it comes to all of their comedic lines and everything. They truly are just such a fantastic ensemble, and I'm going to say fantastic and amazing a million times because this show is truly that show. The second season just finished not too long ago, and I feel like the second season is really where you get to see all of the actors actually become like a family, and you see them be more comfortable around each other, and you can just see that chemistry evolve, and I really, really love that. I also love all the guest stars and the recurring characters. They were all fantastic. Ava is definitely one of my favorite characters. She reminds me a lot of Gina Linetti from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. The storytelling and the writing of this show is just phenomenal. There's always some sort of lesson towards the end of the show, and it always makes me emotional. Like, there's always a character that has some very insightful take on something, and it just makes me kind of teary-eyed. I don't know. There's just something about this show that is very wholesome and heartwarming. Also, the chemistry between Quinta Brunson and Tyler James Williams is off the charts. It is amazing. Specifically in like the last episode of season 2, oh my god. Oh my god. I love this little slow burn romance, and I can't wait to see what happens in season 3. I am so excited for season 3. This is just gonna become one of my new comfort shows. I just know it. And then finally, the one and only movie that I watched was Wait With Me. This is a Passionflix adaptation. I actually did do a whole video on this, so I will link it down below if you are interested. This is an adaptation of the book by Amy Dawes, and I gave this movie like a 2 out of 5 stars. I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. It was just kind of a very mediocre, basic movie. I pretty much felt the same exact way about the book as well. That's the funny thing about Passionflix adaptations, is usually the way you feel about the book is how you'll feel about the adaptation, because the adaptation is so close to the book, if not identical to the book. Some of the acting was a little cringe, but I feel like the main lead really held the movie together. Madison Lalor, I think, she really held this movie together for me. I thought her acting, you know, sometimes was a little awkward and cringe, but for the most part, I feel like she was the star of this movie. I loved the directing. I feel like there was no weird shots or anything. It was a very beautiful movie, actually. I did like the directing and cinematography and all of that. The male actor, Andrew Biernat, was a little awkward. He was like a little stiff. I feel like a lot of his lines were very monotone. I didn't really feel the chemistry between the two actors, unfortunately. The sex scenes were all right. There wasn't anything too explicit, but it was still like something. It wasn't fade to black or anything. But yeah, the story was just kind of boring, not really my thing. It was a decent movie. It's not the worst movie I've ever seen, and I don't think it's Passionflix's worst, but it's certainly not their best. So those are all the TV shows and movies that I've watched in the first 4 months of the year. Let me know if you have watched any of the things that I talked about and what you think about them. Also, let me know what you've been watching recently and if you have any recommendations for me. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe, follow me on all my other social media, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.